like BTC in XRP ledger, and it was created to unlock economic opportunities for XRP holders by allowing them to yield on their assets. One of the key limitations of XRP ledger is that it does not support that native staking like POS chains like Ethereum, and this creates a situation where a large amount of XRP remains dead, like useless.
I didn't know
especially, yes, in the hands of whales who got big, enormous amount of XRP,
Yep.
and but have no incentive to participate in DeFi ecosystem. So we think this is the problem for whales. To solve this, we developed a protocol named XRP-Fi, and this enables users to stake their XRP in a DeFi-like environment in our system. And I will.
And
It's crazy.
this is not the only man. You got so many other accurate calls too, especially when it comes to like your trading and stuff. And yeah, man, people, you guys got to tap in. You know what I mean? This entire call has been pretty much showing you actual facts. Like we chime in with our opinion here and there, but like, you know, this is the type of juice that you should be consuming to give you that conviction to stay in crypto and hold these assets. You know, pinball out of it. You know what I mean? So.
I want to get to the portion today where we show everybody that there's an individual in our community that flipped 100K utilizing DeFi strategies by lending and borrowing with their XRP. So we'll get to that in just a second. But to show you guys some more like DeFi developments on utility assets that a lot of our followers know and love, right? Well, look at this. I posted this on April 16th, 2025. This is an institutional DeFi development on Hedera. Okay, so I said so many things have happened this year and are setting the stage for mass institutional adoption in DeFi. Institutions are for a fact coming, they just need real infrastructure. And a link pool, which is now an official RPC provider, and they partnered with Hbar or Hbar and leveled up in 2025. They offer enterprise grade RPCs, low latency transactions. It's scalable, this infrastructure that they're building for DeFi and real world assets. And they're going to use USDC and Hbar for settlement. So check this out. Here's the fundamental announcement, and I'm just going to read the highlights. It says Hedera is expanding its blockchain infrastructure with the integration of link pool as an official RPC, which is a remote procedure call provider. This deployment strengthens the Hedera network's technical foundation, ensuring high-performance transaction processing, improved developer accessibility, and greater scalability for enterprise adoption. Then it says expanding RPC capabilities on Hedera. Then down here at the bottom, it says scalability for institutional use cases by supporting higher transaction volumes. Linkpool's infrastructure accommodates both DeFi applications and enterprise level financial transactions. Excuse me. Then here it says, cost-effective infrastructure, Linkpool's scalable and reliable RPC architecture supports a diverse range of use cases from retail DeFi projects to institutional-grade stablecoin ecosystems. That is important, okay? Hedera's objective is to facilitate the next phase of institutional blockchain adoption, and high-performance infrastructure is fundamental to achieving this goal. The integration of Linkpool as an RPC provider strengthens Hedera's network by ensuring high uptime enterprise-grade infrastructure that provides stability for mission-critical applications. Additionally, the usage-based cost-effect pricing model reinforces long-term sustainability, ensuring that Hedera's infrastructure remains adaptable and capable of supporting the growing need of developers, enterprises, and financial institutions. And then last but not least, it says, being ready for the future. As stablecoins, DeFi applications, and tokenized assets become central to blockchain adoption, high-performance infrastructure will be a key enabler of future growth, right? And then so to wrap all that up, to show you guys documented proof that they are attempting to push for this integration of yield generation strategies into financial institutions and their foundation. This is from the Digital Pound Foundation, okay? They just put this document out. This is an Innovate Finance collaborative effort with Digital Pound Foundation. And it's a document titled Stablecoin, the UK Opportunity: How the UK Can Be a Leading Global Market and Innovator for Stablecoin Adoption, right? So If we scroll right down here to page 7, I'm only going to read one page. There's a whole bunch of page highlights in this. If you type in yield in this document, the word comes up like 21 to 30 times. But if you scroll right down here to page 6, it mentions here incentive business models. Check this out. I'm just going to read this paragraph. It says, issuers should be permitted to offer interest or yield to customers who establish a direct commercial relationship with them, such as through a separate account or wallet linked to the stablecoin. In this arrangement, the issuer, which would itself be allowed to invest the reserves in HQLA, such as short-term gilts or reverse repos, would be able to share a portion of the returns with the customers as an incentive for holding and using the stablecoin. Being able to provide these incentives to clients is crucial to allow liquidity mechanisms that ensure secondary market price stability. It will also provide the UK with a competitive advantage over other jurisdictions that do not allow yield sharing models. Do you all freaking see that right there? Like, I'm showing y'all physical proof that generating yield on stablecoins is 110% going to be the future. And if you finish reading this document, it talks about them integrating regulations on yield bearing assets like stablecoins, right? And everything that they plan to do. So definitely just tap into this document when you have time. This was a document shared by our researchers in the chat, but this is just to back, showing you guys that the announcement that Hedera just made with Linkpool, they're doing this for a reason, right? They're getting ready for the future. As you saw the document mention, it gives the UK a competitive advantage to the jurisdictions that do not offer this, because they know if they don't offer these yield strategies, they risk falling behind. Okay, which is yet again, put this in terms of a retail perspective. Look at what we're doing with the Wealth 28 Club. We're trying to physically show you guys that that is the same thing that's going to happen with your average everyday retail investor. You're going to have a portion of people that involve themselves in DeFi strategically with a solid risk profile, and they are going to accelerate and make so much more freaking money than people that don't. Like, it's just a fact. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you guys right now, hodling is dead. Putting your idle digital assets to work is the new sexy. I'll let you go ahead, Aqua, because it sounded like you wanted to unmute there.
Yeah, no, definitely, bro. Like you hit the nail with the hammer. Like DeFi is where it's at. And we got members on Hedera earning thousands of dollars right now. So, it's real, guys. You got, like, I'm going to keep saying this. I've been saying it over on my TikTok lives. You gotta have conviction in your asset, right? And then you gotta have an exit plan. But then most importantly, what's going to keep you in crypto is you gotta understand DeFi and how you can get your digital asset working for you, how you can pull a loan against your digital asset. You know how many people are going to turn their digital assets into fiat and be deuces on crypto, not understanding that, you could have pulled a loan on your XRP to go and buy the house, took another portion of your XRP, plugged it into, I don't know, Hugo Fillion's flare staking opportunity where you're earning yield and you can pay back that loan, and you basically surpass the bank. You never had to go to the bank. You never paid an interest rate. That's what being your own bank is all about. Like, there is a slew of things that you can do on this side of the fence in DeFi that it's worth checking out. You know what I mean? Like, who cares if there's no regulations? Look, there's no regulations on the XRP that you hold in your cold storage wallet right now. And I'm not saying you should be deploying your whole bag, but like maybe 10%. I don't know, not financial advice, maybe 5%. I mean, what's crazy cool is that there's no minimum in DeFi. You can start with $1 as you learn and watch your dollar print money while you sleep. So yeah, this is major, guys.
I agree with you. I think that people that don't have a risk-adjusted approach, they're risking more not participating than they are participating. And the thing is that people don't understand is, yeah, of course it's risky. Crypto in general is inherently risky, right? But if you take the proper approach, you learn how to look at the audits, you learn how to, look at the team, you learn how to do research on the protocol, you learn how to look at statistics and look at the TVL and look at the payouts that they're making and where the yield's coming from and all those things. That's transparent. it's not hard to avoid risk. I mean, obviously, of course, at the end of the day, there's still risk involved, but then again, you do your risk adjust, or your risk assessment. How much of your portfolio or your capital are you willing to risk to DeFi? For example, my portfolio is over 7 figures. Do I have 7 figures in DeFi? Heck no, I don't. Absolutely not. But do I have 5 figures in DeFi earning me yield? Absolutely, because that's what I'm allowing in my portfolio to be risked to the DeFi ecosystem, right? And if I lose that, okay, great. But at the same time, that money that I'm making, it's getting pumped back into my long-term bags. Everything's growing. It's so crazy right now that we have this opportunity. And the crazier part is people don't believe that the financial institutions are doing it. So let me show you guys that they are, okay? Because I'm always trying to put our money here at Wealth 28 where our mouth is, and these institutions 110% are doing this. So if what I just showed you guys already up to this point didn't prove it, look at this. Here's an actual fundamental piece from April 29th, 2025 from Sygnum Bank. Okay, Sygnum is a large financial institution that operates in the digital asset ecosystem. Go read up on them, okay? And it says here, Sygnum reveals a push towards holistic crypto TradFi treasury management. This is an announcement that they just recently made. And down here at the bottom, it says, advantages over other solutions include Sygnum's crypto native expertise and the ability to match treasury investments to fund usages and to harmonize balanced crypto traditional yields and equalize credit and equity risks. And so I don't want to thoroughly read through this entire piece. You can see that it mentions yield over 4 different times. And so to save it and just identify all the highlights, I plugged it into ChatGPT and I said, ChatGPT, can you just tell me in simplistic terms what this announcement entails? And it says, banks are not just buying Bitcoin and ETH anymore. They are building the future of yield on digital assets right now. Sygnum Bank just revealed that they are, number 1, combining crypto and traditional assets in a holistic treasury solution. Number 2, offering yield-generating investments with T-bills, ETFs, and staking alongside crypto for institutional clients. Number 3, managing treasury portfolios for distributed ledger technology foundations and corporations seeking to put idle capital to work, and that demand is booming. Over the past 5 years, 400% growth in trading and investing volumes in these products have boomed since 2020. Double the number of institutional clients have come in since 2023, and that clients want to balance crypto and traditional yields to earn on idle assets while staying agile in volatile markets. Okay, this is huge. This is not coming from some retail participant on Twitter or YouTube. This is coming from a bank telling you guys these statistics, that they are for a fact participating in yield generation strategies through the utilization of DeFi. Right? This is huge. So anybody that's there that's like, oh, DeFi is a scam. Is it a scam if banks are using it? No, it's just that the platforms and the protocols that you are most likely being told about are scams. And that is why you do research, you cut through the noise, you join a like-minded community like the Wealth 28 Club or many others out there, because there's other good researchers out there, but you cut through the noise and you focus on who's building, who's trying to be regulated, and who's actually making noise in this market. I'm telling you guys, tap in. Go ahead, Aqua.
Yeah, and just, understanding how DeFi works, understanding how these LPs work. I feel like a lot of people, they'll jump into an LP not knowing what they're jumping into. They're just looking at that fancy APR and they're like, you know what, let me dive into this LP. And then they see their LP, balance go down. And, maybe they didn't get the rewards because the APR throttled down. And now they're exiting that LP with impermanent loss, and now leaving DeFi, calling DeFi a scam. When you understand what you're doing, you educate yourself, you have a process, give yourself a checklist, and you have these different rules to strategize to where you don't endure any type of impermanent loss, especially when you have conviction in an asset, unless you're like in a farming pool. But I don't want to dive too deep into it. But if you are out of range and you just sit on your hands and you don't mind not earning rewards, you're going to be fine. And that's where that conviction comes with that asset as well. That's why you shouldn't be going out getting into LPs with 2 different assets you've never heard of. Like, there's a whole slew of things that you should not be doing. And this is the stuff that we're teaching inside Wealth 28 Club. We're giving you all these gems. You know what I mean? And,
I agree too. Yeah. Something that I've learned is that, just like because I've been a trader now for going on past 9 years, right? 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. So, it's like DeFi is not just something that right now, at least right now, and I mean, there are DeFi strategies that are hands off, but the vast majority of them, especially providing liquidity to AMMs to generate yield and passive rewards, concentrated liquidity ranges and whatnot, that requires a hands-on approach. And if you don't know what you're doing, just like in trading with leverage, you can come in, and if you don't know how to be on the right side of the market, you're going to get freaking wiped out. Your stop loss is going to get cleaned, and you're going to be calling trading a scam, when in reality it was just your uneducated approach and your non-strategical approach to learning about the markets in which you're investing in. And that's what a lot of people in retail aren't able to admit, that it's their fault they're losing money and not the market's fault. See, that's the thing about becoming a mature investor, is you learn that every time you lose money in the market, it is not the market's fault. Even if you get rug pulled, it is not the market's fault. It is your fault by not adjusting your risk properly. If you beat yourself up because you lose 100K in the markets, then guess what? You didn't take that as the worst case possibility and assess that risk, and you deserve to lose that money, right? So it's like, you have to come in with a strategy to investing. It's not a game where you can just come in and, oh, I'm going to make money and everything's going to be green lights and we're just going to go up because this dude with 100,000 followers told me that I'm going to become a bag holder forever and rich. That's not how this works. Like, oh man, I see so many people, right, trash talk like XRP as an example. They'll be like, oh, XRP just did this for this many years and da 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 da. And I saw a post. I'll give you an example. I saw a Cointelegraph or whatever it was post from some large influencer page the other day. Post, if you had invested $100,000 or whatever in XRP in 2018 when it was trading at $2.18, today it would be worth the same amount, right? And I'm like, okay, that's great and all, but that means that whoever made that investment bought at a premium, didn't understand how to dollar cost average into the market when the market was in a fearful state, or when the crypto fear and greed index was below the 50 grade threshold, or when XRP was at a discounted delta zone, or again, the strategical approach towards somebody that understands when to buy in the right environment. Because my portfolio on XRP is freaking booming, right? And so that means, to some degree, I invested at the right moment. So it's like, you have these people that have these opinions about projects because they suck at investing.
Hey, and low key, those type of comments and posts low key box out brand newbies to crypto. They see that, they don't understand. They're like, damn, I guess XRP ain't a good look, huh? Like,
it makes them fearful. That's exactly why the algorithm gravitates social media towards those types of posts. Like, if you go look at, I mean, I think Smoke's algorithm's picking up for sure. I think Mr. Man's algorithm's picking up for sure. And my algorithm's doing it. I don't know what the heck's up with my algorithm right now. But anyways, regardless, I think researchers are starting to gain more traction. But still, to this day, what you'll notice is that the people that are putting out the fake hopium, the hype, the Moonboy price predictions, all the shit that stimulates people's dopamine, that's what's getting the hits, not the good research. So you really have to find a way, especially if you're getting into DeFi, to weed out that noise, that there are regulated options in the DeFi ecosystem. For example, you can LP with 2 regulated stablecoins right now on certain protocols. And I'm not saying that that protocol itself by any means is regulated, but at least at a minimum, you know that the stablecoins that you have in the LP are regulated. So really the only risk that you have to worry about is a depegging or the protocol getting hacked, right? Outside of that, it's kind of risk. I'm not saying it's risk-free, but remember, there's always risk involved. But again, that's how you minimize your risk. And so there's a very large portion of my DeFi portfolio right now where I'm LPing for 2 regulated stablecoins, and I've been earning freaking 10 to 17%, bro, for the last 9 months. It's been crazy.
yeah, same here. I got my stablecoin position earning. So yeah, that's part of having a game plan. You know what I mean? And like having that exit plan, it involves stable coins so you can lock in that profit, but then not leaving crypto completely, because look, you can earn yield with your stable coins while we wait for the market to correct, come back down, enter a new bear market in the future. And you'll have the opportunity, you know what I mean? Like, to each their own, but like, these are the type of conversations that we're having inside the Wealth 28 Club, inside our Zoom calls every single week. I feel like some of our conversations in those Zoom calls are some of the most intelligent conversations in crypto right now.
For sure. Yeah. Have you seen, so because you mentioned just now, not having to sell your assets, like people are delusional in thinking that these institutions that know the value of where this space is headed are going to be selling all of their assets and just dumping them on retail for forever. No, no, no. Just like these banks, these central banks hold gold on their balance sheet, just like these banks hold gold in their underground reserves for years on end. I'm talking about 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years of gold reserves just sitting in these freaking nuclear bunkers. Do you understand, people, that that is exactly what they're about to do with these digital assets, these blue chips, these utility assets? They're going to be compounding them. They're going to be stockpiling them. They're going to be buying them at these minuscule prices and pricing retail out, right? Just like they did with Bitcoin, where now a retail investor can't buy one Bitcoin unless they have $97,000 as of today, right? They're going to do the same thing with a lot of these other assets. And guess what they're going to be doing? These institutions, they're going to be earning yield. They're going to be earning yield on a portion of their assets, not all, but a very large portion. And that is why there's this massive push for staking solutions and ETFs. That's why there's this massive push for regulatory clarity, because these institutions, for them to come into this space, they need to generate yield. Just go look it up. It is a fact. What do you think these banks and institutions do with all these assets, real estate that they hold, with all these treasury funds that they hold, with all these T-bills that they hold? They earn yield, people. And so for anybody to think that that's not what's going to become the new normal, it's just because they don't understand the banking system one and within itself. And so it's so crazy, bro. So just check this out. So just to prove to you guys, this is the winner of the XRPL hackathon that took place. Let me show you guys. His name is Tijong Kong. I'm going to butcher that one. He's Korean, I believe. But if you guys want to go watch this was only uploaded 22 hours ago, has 8 views, people. Come on now, 8 views. And he won the XRPL hackathon in 24 hours, y'all. 24 hours by building a protocol built on the XRPL as XLR, utilizing XLR as the bridge that gave access for both retail and institutions to generate yield with their XRP.
How was a hackathon? What did you build? How did you use XLR?
Of course, our project is called XRP Fi, like BTC Fi in XRP ledger, and it was created to unlock economic opportunities for XRP holders by allowing them to yield on their assets. One of the key limitations of XRP Ledger is that it does not support that native staking like POS chains like Ethereum, and this creates a situation where a large amount of XRP remains dead, like useless.
I didn't know
especially, that. Yes, in the hands of whales who got enormous amount of XRP.
Yep.
But have no incentive to participate in DeFi ecosystem. So we think this is the problem for whales. To solve this, we developed a protocol named XRP Fi, and this enables users to stake their XRP in a DeFi-like environment in our system.
Right? And in this interview, in this interview with Rudy from Multi-Chain Nation, keep in mind, this video was just uploaded like 22 hours ago. He specifically says that the reason why he built the protocol and had that idea, and that's how they were going to win the hackathon, right? Because they did. And it's because he had this idea that institutions are eventually not going to want to sell their digital assets. Why would they want to sell XRP if they can earn yield on it? So that's why he built this and won the hackathon. Come on now, y'all.
Dude. Hey, and shout out to Rudy too for because I think this is the second video from Rudy that we've shared on our podcast. So he does some pretty dope, podcast interviews. That's amazing. 24 hours, dude. This guy's a wizard.
Maybe we could have this dude on our show. We should reach out to him, Multi-Chain Nation.
Yeah, that would be a great conversation with him for sure.
But right, just to solidify what I'm saying, I mean, look at this. This is 8 views, and if you go and you look at the post from XYZ from this Tijong's company right here, bro, no views. Like nobody in the XRP community is like really finely tuned and aware that this is happening. I mean, like people are starting to catch up, especially with like Flare integrating XRP and Bitcoin DeFi and like Doppler Finance launching and all that stuff that happened kind of like so far this year. But still, the vast majority of fresh people coming into XRP and XRP hodlers for years now have no idea that we are entering into this era where a portion of our XRP is never going to have to be sold, or a portion of our XRP can be generating us yield through staking, lending, borrowing, being an LP, liquidity provider, so on and so forth, participating in AMMs. And it's this new era of information that, because just like crypto in the early days, especially, you know, back when it first came out, people shunned away from it because they didn't understand it. But then when you go read the white paper of something, you're like, oh, this is crazy. What? You mean to tell me that it doesn't matter if my XRP is $1 or $1,000, I can take that same XRP, no matter what it's worth, and make passive income with it? Why the F would I ever sell it? Do you understand what that's going to do for people? Like, I know for a fact I'm going to have XRP on a Ledger, on a Decent, on an Elliptical, on a Tangent, like 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 10,000 there. And I'm just going to leave it for my kids. I ain't never going to sell it. But that XRP and that cold storage wallet will be connected to a DeFi protocol generating me yield. Yo, like what?
Facts, bro. That's super facts, bro. And that's how you hang on to these digital assets forever and you keep them in your bloodline. That's the only way. Like seriously, I hope I'm hoping that this is, you know, hitting for everybody tapped in on this live. Like, this is how you stay in DeFi forever. And this is how you hang on to XRP and potentially see it, you know, 20 years, 30 years from now, maybe hit $10,000 potentially. Right. Or the high numbers. But yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, and something else too, like not to make an official or unofficial announcement or whatever, but like some of the stuff too in the future that myself and Aqua are going to be working on integrating into the Wealth 28 Club and what we do for our members is really learning and understanding how to incorporate wealth preservation long-term by putting assets in a trust the proper way. Now, there's a lot of social media influencers on the internet and people in very high-end positions at, you know, wealth family offices and so on and so forth that have this idea that what they're doing in terms of how they put things in trust right now is the proper way. And what myself and Aqua are going to be working on over the next 6 months is really physically showing people how to do that properly, because a lot of people, believe it or not, that have valid credentials are actually doing things the wrong way for true longevity. I'm talking about like government can't touch your stuff. The freaking IRS can't touch your stuff. Nobody can touch your stuff. Locked up so tight that it doesn't matter who comes after your stuff. They ain't getting it. That's what me and Aqua are going to be working on here shortly over the next year. And it's going to be so top tier, bro.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, bro. Like, just, man, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. So tap in, like, stay tapped in with us, because, man, once we do that, that's going to, it's going to be game changing.
It is going to be game changing. But yeah, man. So we'll transition because we didn't full circle back to that automation where I think we went on a little bit of a tangent there, but man, just so much juice. So we talked about automation, right? And we talked about, or Aqua mentioned how, or I don't remember if it was me who mentioned it, but one of our private members utilized an automation strategy, putting their liquidity to work, borrowing against it, lending against it, borrowing against it, and then taking that borrowed liquidity and going and putting it into something, right? Because you're liquid in the DeFi ecosystem. So you can lend your, go ahead, Aqua.
Can I share my screen just real quick? I just want to share my screen and you can take the screen back. Let me just share my screen. For sure. I want to show people that, like, you know, this is the proof. This is the, you know, the pudding right now. Let me share with you guys, you know, and there's more to come when it comes to getting your XRP to work. You know, these protocols are being built right now by these engineers. I feel like hopefully by this summer, we're going to see a slew of different protocols where we can get our XRP working for us, you know, lending and borrowing. But in the meantime, let me just share with you guys what Marshall Hayner built over at MetalX, right? So there's MetalX lending. And right here on MetalX lending, which is a feeless borrowing and lending protocol, I can borrow against my XRP and take a loan out in USDC. And look at this, to pay it back, it would be 0.5%, right? And then that's where I'm talking about. It's like, why would you go to the bank when you can take a loan out yourself? And this is in real time. You see these total value locks. And, this is not financial advice, guys. I totally recommend joining a community like the Wealth 28 Club, where you can understand, how you can get liquidated and, staying within certain percentages on your LTV so you don't get liquidated. These are discussions that we're having, but this is the proof in the pudding that you can get your assets working for you and borrow against them. Like, it's not just XRP. Look at this: Bitcoin, USD, XPR, Doge, Metal, Ethereum. Like,
crazy, bro. To solidify all any naysayers, right? So if you go look up Coinbase, I'm almost 110%. Kevin blew my mind the other day. Kevin's one of our other DeFi mentors. Aqua just mentioned that, on our community discussions, on our weekly Zoom calls, our mentors are sitting there, they're showing physical proof that they were able to maintain profitability during the biggest market downturn that we've seen, right? February, I don't remember what it was. We had the largest liquidation event in crypto. And then February 21st or 19th, whenever it was, we had the largest hack in crypto. And our mentors were able to prove profitability through both of those market downturns and physically showed our community a rising equity curve in their portfolio the entire time by utilizing DeFi lending and borrowing on Aave, right? But I'm getting on a tangent here, but Coinbase announced, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, where you can borrow against your Bitcoin, or you can liquid stake your Bitcoin, or you can take out a loan, right?
Liquid staking. It's liquid staking, brother.
Okay, so whatever it is, Coinbase is a regulated entity in the crypto ecosystem. And so if they're starting to do it, you have to understand, like, behind the scenes, something that you are not seeing, there are regulations in place. If Coinbase, a regulated entity, is allowing liquid staking, is allowing lending and borrowing and yield generation, right? If you go right now on Coinbase, you can generate, I think it's like 5% or something on your USDC, right? So that means for all the naysayers that are like, oh, it's not regulated, you have to understand that you're just not seeing the regulations that you want to see for your retail little, like, oh, now I'm satisfied. Now I see it's a thumbs up. No, there's already a thumbs up. You get that? Like, there's that's the crazy part. So go ahead.
And what was the lady's name that that you shared when she was on stage talking about automation and all that? I forget her name right now.
Christine Moy, this lady. Yeah. So you were talking about lending. Let's go back to why we brought up the lending.
Oh yeah. This is what I wanted to share, because you're talking about Coinbase. Okay, so there it goes. So, like, what she was talking about was she can earn yield up into the point of purchase, right? And what's so crazy is that she's talking about that's going to be in the future. Well, that's actually right now. When she's talking about the future, she's talking about future with like mass adoption and mass people being, tapped into that stuff. But right now, if you're tapped in, you can earn yield up into the, point of purchase as well, because Coinbase gives you a Visa debit card. I believe you can even get direct deposit, and you can choose what asset. And then, just like what we were sharing, we can get 5% on Coinbase with our USDC, just letting it sit there. So, like, well,
that's big facts. There's a huge misconception.
What I mean?
There's a huge misconception that you're not able to do this right now. And that's like what a lot of, like, right now in this very moment, and if I was able to get up from my computer and have you guys come with me, I could physically show you that with the yield that I'm earning in DeFi right now with my stablecoin portfolio, I can send over that yield that I'm creating. I can take it, I can claim it, I can send that USDC over to my crypto.com wallet, fund my debit card, and go and purchase a smoothie at a shop or in the mall right now, right? So it's happening 110%. It's just that people don't understand the process in order to successfully do it without maximizing their risk, like putting themselves at a huge risk disadvantage because they don't know how to do it properly. So to go, because I don't want to go off the beaten path and go too far away on why you brought up that lending protocol on MetalX. Okay, so let's go back to that real quick so we can finish that loophole. So if you guys remember, me and Aqua and this is why we say tap into these calls, right? If you guys remember about a month ago, it was a month ago. Yeah, let me check on the YouTube. Yeah, so it was about a month ago. We had a gentleman named Adam from Kosher Capital on the Friday Live, on the Wealth 20 Live podcast. And you can see this is from a month ago, right? So it's probably like a month and a week ago. And what we talked about is the future of yield generation and automation in DeFi strategies utilizing AI agents. Go check this audio out, because this was such a freaking banger of a call. And so we started paying attention to this, project, Kosher Capital, and what they were doing with AI agent automation and DeFi strategies. And so to the private community, because again, I make it transparent what I'm doing in the market to my private community. And I mentioned the private community on April 3rd. I said shekel got hit hard, and I'm going to personally add another buy at these levels. And then I'm done buying. I'm tapping out at 35 million tokens, right? So I expressed how many tokens I had. Like I'm very transparent. I just, simple little message. I'm not here like, hey guys, this is a freaking signal. No, this is not financial advice. I just let people know what the heck I'm doing in the market. Very simple. It's like a tweet. It's like my own personal like Discord for, a private Twitter. Like imagine if I was tweeting out on Twitter all the gems behind the scenes that allow me to find the documents and make the investments that I make and all this stuff. That's what my Discord is, right? I'm always telling people before I'm entering into buys, like you can ask Agua, freaking people are balling in the Discord, yo.
Yo, super balling, bro.
So,
like,
check this out. One of our private community members sent us a message today. This is a message from this morning. And they said, huge shout out to Cypress and Mr. Aquaman. Wouldn't have discovered this project without y'all. Lent out my XRP on MetalX, borrowed USDC against it, and deployed it into shekel. And now they ran up over $100,000 in profits. Absolutely wild, yo. This is huge. And if you go and you look at shekel when we made the call out, right? This is April 3rd. Shekel did over 800%. What? So anyways, this was really crazy. This was probably a highlight of 2025 this year in the CYPRX community for sure.